this afternoon now from Reiko P. Blackheart in my Reiku's Sunday Detox. Well, this episode is the Sunday Refresher. And with me, I have Kat, my best friend. And we're basically going to reflect on everything I have talked about this entire month, unedited and uncensored. This again is my friend Kathleen, and she is my best friend since I've been here in Jacksonville. At first, we thought we hated each other, but in all actuality, we were like, our rest bitch face, or in my particular case, my rest witch face was on point, and hers was on point. So we end up thinking we hated each other, but we became out to be like the best friends and have so much in common. It's real amazing. So I decided to invite her for my Sunday refresher because we both have our own individual journeys, and her journey started a little bit different than mine. Mine started on a internal level, and I think yours started more physical.
Yeah,
we're still working on the anxiety thing. So who could ever hate me? Oh, you'd be surprised. But we're not going to talk about that. So well, we're going to go ahead and go back into discussing and just kind of refreshing a little bit on some of the things that I discussed in previous episodes of the actual podcast throughout the month. The first week we were talking about physical health and how everything internally, your body is a working machine. And if you are not getting up and, staying rested and drinking water and, practicing little stretch movements, it doesn't have to be anything major. You don't have to go get a gym membership. You could just do little basic stuff to make sure your body stays well worked out. Now, her on the other hand, she'll probably be like, you don't need to go to a gym. You just do everything at home.
Yeah. Fuck gyms. I hate those. I hate gyms. I hate them so much.
And I mean, like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, no, you're fine. I literally, on my podcast, we've talked about sex. So, I mean, honestly, it does not particularly matter. I know she's like, oh no. She's like, I don't know. But no, you don't have to join a gym membership to stay physically healthy. You can literally just go for a walk. You can make sure you're getting some sunlight. If you could be a hermit crab all day, every day, no problem. But if you're not getting some sunlight and getting some natural vitamin D from the sun, then you are doing your body a disservice. And you lost 25 pounds since July. Congratulations, Blend. Hi, I love my glitter goddess. But you could just do little things. It's okay to sit here and do minimum workout. You don't have to, go big or go home right out the gate because of the new year. As well as make sure you don't neglect rest, because you definitely, in order to be able to burn energy, you have to restore your energy. So you want to make sure you don't neglect rest. You want to make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, even if it means just when you wake up, getting that good stretch in, because that does get those muscles and those nerves, working. And I can honestly tell you there'd be some days I'd be forgetting to do that, but it's all right. But I definitely, when I get that coffee, that stretch kicks in with the quicks. I'm like, coffee.
I love coffee.
So when it comes down to that, we also talked about how everything that we discussed in the following week, which was mental health, has a lot of the same things, walking and getting up in the morning and stretching, not neglecting, rest, making sure you're staying hydrated, and, mentally taking care of yourself. It is okay to sit here and take a break. I mean, don't let a job dictate you, telling you that, no, you need to stay on the phone or you need to stay here and take abuse from someone when you are starting to make yourself crash. And a lot of the stuff mentally affects you physically and it affects your health. So I tell a lot of people that, as a person, to protect yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, you need to make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you sleep, you stretch, get some sunlight, make sure you have good friends for social interactions, because that's a good thing for mentally to get yourself together. And that's also a good thing for yourself emotionally, especially if you are protecting yourself with around somebody who is not super emotional and toxic traits, and knowing how to walk away from toxic people. I mean, if you have two people who have anxiety and they can't calm each other down, that may be not the most healthy relationship. Like me and her, we both have anxiety, but I managed to tell her it's okay, it's fine, you're overreacting. And then she does it for me when I'm overreacting. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like I did something embarrassing last night and she's just like, yeah, we're human. And I'm just like, you don't understand. I don't do these things. So back to how my health journey started, about the new year, new me. It didn't start on New Year's. It started randomly on a Tuesday in the middle of the year. I can't remember exactly what month, but I started this mental health kick to get myself mentally right and get myself spiritually right, because I needed to get myself in a better headspace, especially because my physical health isn't the best. And because my physical health isn't the best, it was bringing me down mentally and emotionally. And then it was making me neglect myself physically. So mine started on a mental level and then an emotional level. And then I got into the physical aspect. Like I said, it doesn't have to start on a new year. It doesn't have to start on next week. It doesn't have to start. It could be in the middle of the day. You could start this journey. You don't have to wait until the next day. If not now, then when? Like, when are you going to start? So, Kat, tell me a little bit about your journey and what made you decide to start your physical health kick. Because when I met you, you were a lot bigger, and I still thought you were adorable. And
thank you.
She wasn't happy with that, but it's okay.
No. Okay. So I went to college. I was in college for forever because I didn't go to a university immediately. I did community college, and then
Bye.
Did community college, and then ended up going to UCF. And it was just super stressful, and all I did was schoolwork. So I just gained a lot of weight. I was at one point, like my senior year of college, I was almost 200 pounds. I'm 5 foot. So you being short and being almost 200 pounds, like,
not flattering.
It's not flattering at all. And it was just like I felt horrible. And not like I felt horrible because like I didn't like how I looked. Like, no. It was like I physically didn't feel good. Like I wasn't healthy. And I also just didn't really like how I looked. That was a part of it, but that wasn't really why I decided to change. It was just my dad has heart problems, and then I was not feeling good, and I was way overweight for my age and height, and I was like, I meant height, not age, by the way. And because I was only like 25.
You started when I met you. You started.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about
like
20.
25, 26, around there. And I just decided that I was gonna try to work out at home, because I have tried to work out at gyms before and I hate them. I don't like random people. Like, I've been at gyms before where random people have come up to me and they'll be like, you're not doing that right. Or like I've had like, I remember there was one time where I was on like a machine and this guy just stood there and like stared at me until I got off of it. And I was like, what the like, so I don't fuck with gyms.
Some people just don't know proper gym etiquette, and that's why I don't frequent to gyms either.
And it makes me like so mad when like I'll be on like social media and I'll see like a video of someone who's like obviously at a gym trying to work out, trying to better themselves, and some like, gym buff asshole takes a video of them to make fun of them and put it on the internet. And it's like, okay, so you're going to make fun of people for trying to better themselves, but then you're also going to hate people because they're overweight. Fuck you. Like, no, I'm not into that. So I don't like gyms. I think they're kind of toxic, and I think that it's a waste of money. So many gyms just take your money and you don't even go. So
I feel like in that particular case, most people should probably have like a home gym, because that way, if you really want to dedicate yourself and have gym equipment to target certain areas, then you should just invest in the actual equipment. Believe me, there's plenty of stores that you can just go ahead and do payment plans, especially now. I feel like more of corporate America is aware that the cost of living and everything, people can't buy things outright anymore, especially in our generation. You could just do a payment plan. It's not even that serious. The amount that you spend in a gym, you might as well just go ahead and buy gym equipment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, for me, honestly, even with gym aspects, if you're physically trying to get yourself fit, being in a gym can be emotionally and mentally straining, because you're watching other people who have these results and you're sitting here like, well, I'm not getting the same results. Or you have those people who are judgmental, and now mentally you're sitting here like, oh, these people are judging me. And if you have one of those people who have like really bad social anxiety, and you have these people who are looking at you while you're working out, you're like, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? And you have like all these thoughts storming through your head. So it is okay to not do a gym. You can just go walk, run up and down a flight of stairs. I used to do that all the time. Like at my old apartment building, when I was younger and I was still in high school, before I decided to go be an idiot and, you know, progress and go to college.
I was an idiot in college. That's like what you're supposed to do, though. You're supposed to be an idiot.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
you know, we just party and hate yourself.
Well, I mean, we all have our phases. You know, you're right. But we all have our moments that, you know, we're going to hate ourselves. We're going to do something that we're going to hate. But when that time is over, you can't just dwell on that. You got to take that. Okay, I was young and dumb. I learned from it. This is what I learned. And here I am now. I'm on a journey. So, I mean, like, even for me, like I said, for me, I felt like running up and down a flight of stairs was enough. I used to walk up and down like track fields. Like there was a track field by one of my old apartments when I was over the age of 18 and moved out. I used to walk around that a couple times a night just to go ahead and get some working out done. And, you know, it's just little minimum things. You want to make sure, if anything, your heart is healthy. You don't physically need to be healthy, like physically, like appearance wise. But if your heart's healthy, your body's going to function and fall in line everywhere else. So, I mean, like I said, you don't have to go big at a gym to physically get yourself together. Like I said, you just need to stay hydrated and do some kind of workout. Like those people I see at my job, I've had a person walk up and down the airport. Like seriously, she just was making her rounds before her flight. And I was just like, oh, okay, she's getting that cardio in. Go ahead. And I get my workout from work. Like I do. I make sure they're like, oh, well, you can stay at a desk and do paperwork. And I'm like, no, I'm here tossing bags. That's doing my arms. I'm sitting here and I'm walking up and down. I'm doing this. I am keeping my heart going and pumping, especially because I know my family's medical history, diabetes, you know, strokes, heart attacks, you know, high blood pressure. I am trying not to fall into that same line. And then like also, again, like I discussed in the previous podcast, is that you can eat, but be portionate and be mindful of what you eat. You definitely want to make sure that your body is not overindulged in a lot of the foods that you eat and stuff like that. Like I eat tacos. I can't get away from tacos. But I also eat a lot of fruit. I also eat a lot of, you know, carbs. And I have to be careful of that because those carbs do pack on weight. So I have to counterbalance when I'm eating a lot of those carbs, and I portion control, or I try to portion control. Yesterday, not so much, because I definitely had a whole half a pizza and some dumplings. But we ain't gonna talk about that. Today I'm gonna be super busy, so all of that's gonna get burned out. And also not neglecting breakfast. You never want to neglect breakfast. Don't do that. But it's one of those things. You don't want to overindulge in working out. You don't want to overindulge in, like, your favorite foods. You want to make sure that you are taking the time to portion it out. Like for me, I could sit here and eat a whole fruit bowl, but if I eat to the point where my stomach is like expanded and I'm doing that, everybody knows what that means when you're eating. I don't know if you don't know. If you don't know, that means you have eaten too much. Like your stomach is past the point of holding food and it's trying to process that you done overstuffed it. You just got to know what your limits. You're eating to sustain, not to gouge. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like you don't eat. Some people, like, I guess, live to eat, but you should eat to live.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the truest statement I've heard today. And that's it. Like, seriously, you want to eat to live. You don't want to do it the opposite way. You don't want to overindulge yourself. I get that some people are foodies, because I'm a foodie.
So am I.
But I also understand that overindulging, especially living in the US, and we have the highest obesity rate of any country, you should know what your limitations is. Now, I know in some cases, if you are depressed, you may overeat, or if you're depressed, you may not eat. So you might want to consider also, if you are not in the mood to eat, to try to sustain a little bit. It could just be something simple like eat a peach or an apple. Like, seriously, it's just making sure, even in those mental states, to still physically take care of yourself. Because then when you start doing that, then you start making yourself feel a lot better. One thing that I literally was talking to one of my coworkers the other day, is he has a habit of cleaning up his house, because he feels like if his house gets too dirty, then he gets upset. And I mean, like, honestly, it's true. That's protecting his mental and emotional state, because he wants to protect himself. And then he still, works out and he does everything he needs to do. But everybody has their own things to do to make them, physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. But a lot of people don't realize it's just simple things you have to do to take care of yourself. And that's the whole thing that I was trying to do and work on this month, was making sure people are aware that, hey, protect your energy, drink water, don't neglect sleep. Also, if a job is toxic, if it's emotionally draining to you, it is okay to leave. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay to sit here and be like, mentally, I can't take this job. Find something else. I don't just say just up and leave. Just, find something else. Find something better. Find something different that is going to be more feasible for you as a human, because you want to take care of yourself, because you want to, not come home and be stressed out and bring all that energy home with you. Mm-hmm. And if you have to take breaks, don't let a job dictate you and basically whip you into shape like, no, you need to stay here. No, it's not how it's supposed to be. It's okay to not be okay, especially with a job. I get it, in society and stuff. A lot of people say, why did you leave your job? You can always say personal. You can literally, a job can make you go crazy. A job can make you literally hate your life and hate yourself mentally and emotionally. And it can do a lot of damage to you physically. A lot of people wonder why they keep getting sick. A lot of people keep wondering why, their body doesn't seem like it's ever healthy. It starts internally. It starts on that mental level and that emotional level, that if you're constantly stressed, if you're constantly sitting here mentally draining yourself out, your body's going to show it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, honestly, at one point I thought me being overweight was, me just being healthy. Come to find out, it really wasn't. I was literally killing myself slowly, because mentally I wasn't on the right path, and emotionally and spiritually I wasn't on the right path. I wasn't, where I needed to be in those states. And now that I'm getting back to those states, I'm starting to lose weight, because my body is starting to realize, okay, she's doing what she needs to do. Your body will thank you when you finally start to work it out together and everything's on the same page length and on the same wavelength. So, because like this one right here, she started on the physical level.
Yes.
And I'm gonna get you together on your anxiety. It's all right. We're gonna be anxiety filled together. It's all right.
I have really bad anxiety.
And she'll randomly be like, I need to see you. I'm like, all right, cool. I need to see you too. And then she'll just come here and we'll just watch movies. So when it comes down to emotional health,
yes,
having that support system, having good friends, having people who knows you, and knows how to bring you to a level of clarity, even in your most emotional states,
yes,
is the best thing in the world. Having that support system is the best thing in the world. Like, I wouldn't trade this girl for a world. Like, even if like when I first met her, I was like, I think this bitch hates me. But she
that's
is
how the best friendships start.
It does. It's like, how did you meet each other? Man, when I first met her, I thought she hated me.
She was such a bitch.
She was such a bitch. She didn't say hi to nobody. And then we end up having like pizza together, and then
we met at a job.
We worked
together. Quite possibly the worst. The worst job ever. That was definitely, well, it wasn't, okay.
It wasn't bad. It was
bad for me at the end.
It was a job that was fun and rewarding, but a lot of the management was draining and shit. So that's where it was. Yeah. I ended up not coming back because it was a seasonal job as well. Yeah. I ended up not coming back. They offered me to come back like last minute, I guess, when everybody else turned down. And at that point I was like,
sounds about right.
I was like, no, we're good. I'm good. But mentally, like, I love the job, but if management is not fulfilling enough, and the thing is, like, management took credit for a lot of the shit that I did, which I had a problem with.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't return. I was not going to allow myself to be degraded. And after I put in a lot of extra physical energy, emotional energy, and mental energy into a project or a task, for management to take all the credit. Like, yeah, I was there. I did it. No, you wasn't. You were nowhere to be found. I don't know. You weren't even in the same city. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm in Orlando. You're in Jacksonville. Like, I don't get how you took credit for this. I hated him.
Yeah, he was bad.
But I'm not gonna give him that power today. We're not gonna do that.
No.
He is in just cause. He's going to get his comeuppance.
Yeah, I mean, he got fired, so
we liked that. Yep. Fun times. But physically and emotionally, I loved the clients. Mentally, I didn't like the management. So I took care of my mental health and left. I did not come back to it. And I mean, like, it took you a minute to go and finally leave.
Yeah.
But there's one of those things that, you know, we have to take in consideration, that I started getting sick around that time too, like real bad. Like I was going through it real bad physically. And I've realized that, like, it was because of a mental thing. Like, when mentally you are not feeling well and emotionally you're not feeling well, your body starts to reflect it. Mm-hmm. Like, everything starts in your center. Like, a lot of people find it funny because I always say that, like, my body is my temple, and then my brain is my computer system, is my nervous system, which is true. It's not a lie. It's literally how your body functions. Your brain is your nervous system. So if mentally I'm not doing well, if there is a, you know, error in the code, sort of say, then the rest of my body is going to, like, show and reflect it. So I end up getting real sick. I gained a lot of weight. My endometriosis was flaring up a lot more. So I ended up having to have surgery, which I constantly look at the scars now. I'm like, I had surgery. I had like 3 big incisions. They blew up my stomach and everything. And it's just like little things like that. Like, it started there. And I'm like, no matter how much physically I was doing to make myself feel better, like working out. And I mean, like, there was a moment where I was at the gym 4 times a week. Like, there was videos of
I
me.
remember that.
I was at the gym 4 times a week, lost a lot of weight. I was like, yeah, I started looking good. I thought I was feeling good. But then in the back of my mind, I was still depressed. So because I was still depressed and I was literally just repeating the same motions over and over again, thinking that was making me feel better, it really wasn't. Physically, I looked like I was in shape. I looked like I was getting better. But in all actuality, because mentally and emotionally and spiritually, I was not where I needed to be. Physically, my body was starting to like, okay, we've lost some weight, but you know, you still want to overeat. You're still in a lot of pain. You're still going through a lot. And so it didn't work. It didn't work. The program didn't work. It just didn't. Like, you think that if you sit here and you work out, you're going to physically feel better and mentally and spiritually and emotionally. But if none of those are lined up, if you're not taking care of all of those levels, you're not doing yourself any justice. A lot of people start that whole workout kit because they think that's going to make them feel better mentally and emotionally. But that's something that's internal.
Yeah.
Because even then, you could sit here and work out and still feel like shit. There was a video I watched, I can't remember, but it was a dude who was overweight. His girl broke up with him. And then he decided to join the gym. And literally they said, he joined the gym, made sweat puddles, and he was still working with the girl who broke up with him. And it was just like a cycle of this guy still physically working out, and he wasn't feeling any better until he met a new girl. And I can't remember if it was like a commercial that I watched or it was a video that was just circling around. But like, the guy lost a lot of weight, started looking good, met a new girl at the gym, and fell in love with her. It's sometimes bad situations can motivate you, but also at the same time, during that cycle of him going to the gym, he was not mentally or emotionally better until he met somebody else. And I mean, like, you have to have enough love and respect for yourself emotionally before you want to end up trying to depend on somebody else for emotional support. But you want to take care of yourself. You want to still have your support systems, but you also want to know that it's okay to not be okay. You got to also know that, you know, working out is not going to solve all your problems. You got to also know that, you know, mentally you have to protect yourself. You have to take care of you. And you have to know it's not just a physical thing. It's not just a mental, and it's not just emotional. You have to start with you and see where you are mentally, emotionally, and physically. Are you where you are in any of those levels? Spiritually, I mean, honestly, you could seek spiritual guidance, but at the same time, the energy you put out is the energy you're going to receive, whether or not you are very religious and asking the fates of the gods. Why is these things? Woe is me. Why is this? Why is things going the way that they are? You could ask why all day long, but you're not going to get an answer immediately. So that's why I never say find yourself spiritually. Just know that what you ask for is going to come to you at some point. It's just not going to come when you want it to. It's going to come when it needs to. I feel like if more people think on that way on a spiritual level, then everything will be fine. And we won't have all these people out here talk about your religion and this. That's so toxic. So toxic.
Yes.
It's so toxic. It's okay to say no to people if they're messing with you mentally. It is okay to say no to somebody if they hurt you emotionally, and knowing the right things to say. And understanding, are you saying this because you're emotional, or are you saying this because this is really how you feel? Be very mindful and think about it. Everything kind of plays in together. Everything kind of goes in together. How are you feeling physically?
Physically, this is probably the happiest I've been physically. Mentally, I'm getting better a little bit. It's taking a while, but I don't even, like, physically I'm doing a lot better. But I mean, like, I had a pretty bad breakdown last month. So that was great.
Yeah, I think we both did.
We did, yeah, around the same time too. And it was yours what made you go up to New York. Mine happened when I came back from New York.
Mine's happened while I was in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, mine's was a breakdown because somebody who was very toxic in my life came back into my life, and I was just like, I need you to like back all the way. And for some odd reason or another, like this person is randomly like hitting me up, like, hey, how you doing? And I'm just like, can you please leave? Like,
No.
please leave. Like, I forgave you. Now leave me alone and let me live my life. But some people can't leave well enough alone. And when they see people are happy or doing well, they want to come and throw a monkey wrench in the situation. And like this person has caused me so much trauma that even if I forgave him, like for myself and my sanity, seeing him or like hearing him or even mentioning his name or his sign just makes my eye twitch. Like it's just like, ugh. But it was just like, why are you trying to contact me? And I asked you respectively, hey, I forgive you. Please never contact me again. And it's just like you're still trying to find other venues to reach out to me like we're cool and we're not cool. You're the reason I have like severe trust issues. Like you were older than me, you tried to manipulate me, and then when I sat here and was telling you that I was carrying your child, you called me a whore and told me to burn in hell, and then I had a miscarriage. So I have not forgiven that person on that level, but I've forgiven him as a human because I have to keep moving.
Yeah. Well, and like like we talked about this recently actually, but I mean, you can forgive people and not forget what they did to you. Like I can forgive you for like completely fucking up my life, but I don't have to forget that you did that.
Yep.
No.
It's not gonna make me want to like bring you back into the fold. No. It's not gonna happen. Like I forgive you for my sanity, but I'm not gonna forget what you did.
No.
And this person, like he emotionally drains me. Like it's one of those things where you have that much of a power over me and I don't like it. And that's the reason why I'm like, I don't even physically have to say anything to this person. It's just that if I see his picture or see his name or see anything involving his name, because I know he's trying to reach out to me, it triggers my anxiety, something fierce. Like, why are you reaching out to me? What do you want? Like,
for sure.
You've ruined my life enough. Like, why? And it's like, some people just don't want to accept well enough. Like, I gave him his wish. He called me a whore, told me to burn in hell, and never contact him again. And I did just that. But he randomly hit me up and said, oh, my bad, didn't know. I'm sorry that this happened, XYZ. And I was such a shitty person, like a year and a half later. And I'm like, you know what? I forgive you. And I would respect that you do not contact me ever again. So no, that's not what I'm getting. So at this point in time, I just block everything that involves that person because I'm not going to allow you to bring me down mentally or emotionally. Though there is plenty of people in the world who would like to make his face meet the curb.
Yes.
I personally, for my sanity, because I am such a caring person, I feel like all the bad things that he put me through is making their way back to him. So I don't have to do anything. A good person I am, I feel like fate is just going to work out in my favor and beat the crap out of him on his series of why you're at the age that you are and you're not going to get your shit together. But that's how I am emotionally protecting myself from toxic people. And that is how I am emotionally and mentally keeping myself away from that. How do you heal? Are we talking on emotional or are we talking on a physical or mental level? Because healing is going to be different for each person. If you're talking on an emotional level, then you're going to be needing to I feel like on the emotional, there's a lot of things to do emotional. Because I mean, like, most people want to do is drown themselves out in like ice cream. Don't do that. Yeah. That's like the worst thing to do. Or overindulge in food. You don't want to have your emotions drag you out and everything. The best thing I can say is if you are dealing with something where somebody emotionally hurt you, you want to give yourself some closure. Whether you give closure with them or whether you write it out on a paper, on a piece of paper that you know, into a letter form and may never send it to them, you got to give yourself some kind of emotional closure. Tell them how you feel. And then once you tell them how you feel, let it go. And I know that's easier said than done. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some, you know, being away from that person and, you know, distractions and things of that nature. But if you're going to distract yourself, do healthy distractions, like, you know, work out.
I listen to a lot of music.
I listen to a lot of music.
That's really therapeutic for me. Movies. I have like certain movies that I could just watch depending on like the mood that I'm in. Like if I am really, really upset and I kind of need to cry, which first off, crying is fine.
Crying is
nothing
healthy.
Wrong with crying. I love to cry. I cry all the time.
I'm a big emotional baby. Reading works too.
I love reading.
Reading works too. And being around good, supportive friends.
Yes.
Not those friends talk about, man, you want me to go beat his ass? I mean, like, it's all fun and games, but physically you don't want your friends to go whoop that person's ass.
Yeah, no.
You want good friends who are going to help you through the situation. And the first thing we want to do as a friend, we want to protect you, yes. But physically beating someone's behind is not going to do it. Strategies to letting go. Forgive them. Yeah. Forgive them. Even if you don't physically tell them you forgive them, forgive them for your own sanity.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you can sit here and muster up the strength to forgive someone, then you are already on the right path of letting them go.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes the worst friend sometimes, because sometimes, like, when my friends get out of relationships, I'm like, the best way to get over somebody is to get under them. I'm joking. Don't do that. But that's certain friends, like those are like my associates, but like my real friends, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm here for you. Let's go to the movies. You are amazing. If you are letting go because that person broke up with you, you always want to make sure you remember that that was a chapter. And just like everything in your autobiography, your entire life, every chapter has a beginning and an end. What did you learn from the experience? You could sit here, if that person breaks up with you, you could say, you know what, I forgive them. I mean, you could sit here and question yourself, why, what did I do? What could I have done different? Maybe that person was not the person who was meant to be in your life. I think I said something on the level of knowing the different people that you'll meet in your life. Like, your life is like a tree. Yeah. You have your roots, which is your family dynamic, and the people that you consider your best friends, the ones who, you know, keep you grounded, keep you solid. You know, you're the embodiment of the actual tree. Then you have those branches, which is, you'll have, like, with the branches, they might be some friends or family members who, you know, may, if the wind blows too hard, or if a situation or a shit storm comes, now they're broken off. Then you got your leaves. Now, your leaves are these people that are work associates, temporary dates, guys who are coming in temporary, girls who are coming in temporary, part-time friends, things of that nature. Just people that is in your life for a moment, but then just like the seasons, they change and then they fall to the ground. And in some cases, you might have that one stubborn leaf that stays on the tree and they're just like, hey, I'm here. Hey, hi, not gone nowhere. But everybody else, they done fell to the ground and they done made their lives the way it is. you have to take in consideration when you sit down after that breakup and reflect, because everybody goes through that reflect stage where they're sitting here like, what could I have done different? What did I do wrong? Why did they break up with me? Did I really make the right decision breaking up with them? Like, I think everybody does. And we are, as humans, are afraid to admit that we go through those reflective stages when we get into breakups, whether we break up with that person or they break up. But then you need to just say, was I'm doing the right thing for me, or they're doing the right thing for them? And maybe this person was just a temporary chapter. It is time for me to go to the next chapter. It is okay. Cry about it if you need to cry about it. And then you're going to look at what did you learn from the experience and appreciate them for what you learned. Whether it was even if a negative situation, you could still learn something from it. Like if a person cheats on you and you break up with them because they cheated, you're like, okay, well, now I know the signs I need to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do nothing wrong. This person is just not going to be different. That's it. And if the person is commendable enough to cheat and then tell you about it, then, you know, hey, at least he's honest. I mean, or she's honest.
Yep.
Or, you know, in some cases like that. But it's one of those things where when it comes down to letting go and starting that healing process, you have to is there's human, and to forgive is
to
err is human, and to forgive is divine. Yeah, to forgive is divine. You have to forgive. That's the best way to know how to get to forgive anybody.
Yeah, like I said, you can forgive someone, but not forget what they did to you. You can just let it go.
And I mean, like, honestly,
just don't even worry about it.
And a lot of the times, an emotional, especially with the emotional aspect of forgiving people and letting go of the situation, you have to know to heal. You have to forgive. In order to heal, you always want to start with the forgiving. Yeah. Even if you want to, you know, go on to the next point and everything else like that in your life, in your relationship, you have to forgive the people who did you wrong. Not for them, for you. Because everything starts off for your inner self. I mean, like, a lot of people are like, oh, why did you forgive them? Why did you this? And those are the people you really don't want to have in your corner, because if they're going to question why are you forgiving somebody who did something toxic to you, then they're not really understanding that you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for your own inner being, your own inner divine, and your own self-healing. Because if you sit there and live with all that hate will fester. It will grow. It will just tarnish you as a person. And it makes it hard, because then you'll jump into like another relationship with so much hate in your heart that now you're taking that hate out on an innocent person who did no wrong at that point. So you forgive your exes and the people who do you wrong for yourself, for your self-healing. And then, like, emotionally, you're going to have to take time. I always tell people, like, my heart has a whole bunch of like Band-Aids on it, because I've been hurt so many times that, because I'm such a nice person, I've gone through some shit. Like, my friends and my sister is super protective of me. Like, no, we need to screen everybody you talk to at this point, because you're horrible at this. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a big love bug. It's all right. But if you sit here and you take the time, and emotionally, you have to take time, cry if you need to, play a sad song, sit in the tub with like water hitting you for a little bit, reflect. It's all right. It is okay. If you are not emotionally in the right state, it is okay. But guess what? Life is going to still keep moving whether you are in an emotional state or not. You have to say, you know what? I'm tired of letting this person have this power over me. Or, you know, I'm tired of feeling this way and this emotion making me feel this way. Let me find things that make me happy. Go out, treat yourself. Go to movies.
Movies. I love movies.
You go to a loud concert. Go drink responsibly.
Yes.
Take a friend who knows you're going through some stuff, and they're going to be there for you. And make sure, like I said, you stay around people who are going to be there for you emotionally. Like, if you're going through a bad time, they're going to be like, all right, cool. You know what? I'm here for you. Like, if I go through another breakup, I'm pretty sure I would want this thing right here by my side
Yes.
to be like, you know what, fuck him. Like, let's go get tacos. I'm like, tacos.
And you were there for me during my last mess. It was a mess. That's what it was. That's the only word
And
for
I was
it.
one of those friends who randomly was like, do you need me to curb stomp her? Like,
Yeah.
it's like-
It's bad.
but ultimately I was like, you know what? She doesn't deserve that. And, you know, she's going to get the bullshit that she's going to get.
Yeah.
And then I had to like look at it from her point. I'm like, I could explain why this is why it is.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I look at both sides of the scenario and both sides of the coin. In most cases. Now, if a person just cheats, that's just the way they are.
Yeah. Wasn't a cheating issue.
No.
It was a substance/alcohol abuse issue.
She
Love
needs
that.
help.
Yeah.
Can't get nobody help that can't get their own help.
Nope.
So just like with this, like when a lot of people sit here and wonder why they don't have anybody to help them and stuff like that, but are you doing anything in the effort to help yourself? Like a lot of cases.
Yeah.
A lot of people have to realize humans are very shitty.
Yes.
And you need to know the difference. No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't. You got to know the difference between a person who's willing to help you and a person who is temporary. You
True.
have to know that, especially with the people who come in your life and things of that nature. So I see that a lot of people are having some issues when it hold on. In my personal experience, when teachers put together a point to beat the child for making them disciplined, but I did not join them, and they have concerned me. And one side was 60 number of teachers, on the other side I was alone. Still, it goes on with me. What would you suggest in that case? Are you talking about teachers disciplining a child?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, so are you saying that like teachers were disciplining a child and you didn't want to join in with the discipline? Honestly, I feel in that particular case.
No.
No. Okay.
So is it that
I have concerns. I'm slightly concerned on that.
they cornered me?
They cornered you. Are you talking about somebody abusing you? Oh.
That's not good.
In my personal experience, when some teachers put a point to beat the child for making them discipline, but I did not join them, and they have cornered me. In one side, there was 60 number of teachers. On the other side, I was alone. Still, it goes on with me. I am slightly concerned about that.
They ignored me from that day.
Huh. That sounds like a mess.
That does.
That sounds like a mess. Those are people you don't want to be around.
No.
That sounds like a bunch of people you don't want to be around. that sounds like
teachers really. I mean, my whole family's teachers, and my brother works at a inner city school, and there's a lot of like fights and everything. But teachers, especially now, really can't do much.
Well, in the U.S.
Yes.
In other countries, I know in a lot of other countries, they still believe in disciplining children.
Yeah.
In the school system, if they're still in the school system.
Yeah, but in the U.S., you really, as a teacher, you can't touch the kids. Yeah. And if you do, you can get fired.
In some schools, you can carry guns now, apparently.
Oh, God, guns. Don't even get me started on guns.
But
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, but we literally... honestly, at that point in time, if they ignore you, it's probably for the best. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, it's better for you to not be in that kind of situation. It sounds like it was a very bad situation. I wouldn't want to be involved in personally. If you still feel strong about your beliefs, stick to your guns on it. If you don't believe in disciplining a child, if you don't believe in, you know, doing things of that nature, then don't don't stick to your ground, stick to your guns, mentally and emotionally stick to what you believe in, because like I said, even if like you may not be able to talk to these people or interact with these people, it's probably for the best. You want to make sure you are doing the healthy things for yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. And if it's to the point where even if you not interacting with them is bad, then you want to eliminate yourself from that equation completely. If I mean, you could love what you do, but if other people are not interacting with you and it's causing you to be depressed, you don't need to be in that environment. Back away from the environment. It's not healthy for you.
I think the same can be said for friends too.
That is very, I mean, those are not necessarily friends. Some people are
Yeah.
just temporary. Some people are toxic, and you don't want to have
Yeah.
toxic people in your life.
Like,
You don't want to go ahead and go with that. No. So when it comes down to that, when it comes down to friends, you need to back yourself away from
yeah.
toxic people and toxic environments.
Yeah.
You want to do,
Don't be afraid to.
don't, like, definitely don't. Like, I get it, especially with millennials. We have a habit of, oh, if I leave this job, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills. I'm not gonna be able to survive. If the environment's toxic, leave the environment, because nothing is worth your mental health and emotional health. No job, no amount of money is worth it. I Money is the root of all evil. It is. Same with friendships. Some people are just there temporarily. They could just be there draining you. They're not really fulfilling you, and they're not really getting your batteries back up.
Yeah.
Hi, pretty girl.
Hi. Yeah, and it's okay too to like keep people as, I guess I like to call them, like social media friends. Like I have someone who I've just recently done that with, where I'm no longer going to support them, or show up to any of their events or anything like that, because you know, they have made it very clear that they only like you and support you if they can use you for something to their gain. And I'm not one of those people. So I've decided I'm not going to support you anymore, but I'll, watch you do your stuff on social media.
How do you live life when you have no money?
Oh, I do that every day.
Every day.
You just,
I mean,
I love like traveling and everything. And I don't have any money. Like, I have enough money to pay my bills, but I still just make it happen. Like, I'm not going to let money dictate what I can and cannot do with my life. Like, I refuse.
a lot of people have that whole aspect that money is the only way for you to live life.
It's not.
And it's really not. You should get fulfillment from life from the experiences that you gain.
Yes.
That's how I live life with no money. I live life with no money because of the experiences that I've gained, the knowledge that I've gained, and the people that I've met and shared those experiences with. And the people that I've learned things from, the people who keep me stable mentally, emotionally, and physically. If you feel like money is how you're going to be able to live your life, then you are probably one of those people who feel like money makes the world go round. Wants to call in? Go for it. Uh-oh. Somebody wants to call in.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Yes, you're
Is it
on.
audible?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the teacher here in India. Hello.
I'm still listening. You're one of the teachers in India.
Yeah. So what's going on with me is like from quite a while I'm seeing that thing happening with me in the school. Like whenever I'm taking a step against something bad going on, like the you didn't get my point actually at the time. I was talking about this. They all were getting together to have a debate on a topic that should we beat the kid to discipline the child. But I personally believe that disciplining the child has nothing to do with the beating. So then when they got that one that this teacher is actually against this notion, they started cornering me, like they started ignoring me. And thereafter, like still it is going on with me, like what to do, what not to do. Then thereafter I decided myself, I'll stay with my children. And like I started going to the school, and thereafter having lunch with them, and nothing else to do with other teachers. Nobody was talking to me at the time. And just it's still going on. So same thing came to my mind also, that to change my school, or change the place they're on, because I feel so there would be better schools where children are regarded as the incarnation of God. So I feel that thing. So that was my point of view.
Okay.
So that's why actually I felt that like as you said that money is not important. Many a times in my family I've said that I have taken the outrageous steps, like sometimes going out of the school, getting angry over this thing, like if somebody is behaving in a very awkward manner, then going out of it, and then thereafter they calling me many a times, but it doesn't matter to me. Like when child is not getting respected for whom we are going to the school, if those are not getting respected, then what we are going to do? So then thereafter, like money point, the point of the money was this, like you're saying that money is not important. I think so. The countries like which are western countries, they have the options, they have the aids, the child is getting everything from the government side, and everything is available. But the countries like India, which are developing countries, and even the largest democracies in the world, but still we are having that loophole, that we don't have, the large amount of money to pay the bills or the rents that we have. That was the point of mine actually.
Oh, so I get it now.
Yeah.
Um, First and foremost, I get your standpoint on why you are feeling the way that you do about the school
Mm,
system. And I
yeah.
definitely commend you for sticking the ground of not wanting to discipline the child physically. Honestly, there's other ways to educate a child that does not involve physically hurting a child. Because physically, even if you discipline a child, it does cause some emotional standpoint, like some damage, as well as mental. So you kind of have to be careful when it comes down to that. There's other ways to handle those situations. Now, when it comes to the other teachers, they are going to look at you like a black sheep for standing the ground, and it's
Yeah.
probably going to be draining, but stick to your guns. Always stick to what you feel is going to be right for the children, because you are going to make a very impactful decision in their lives, and like helping them
Yeah.
grow and manifest into their inner gods and their inner beings. So make sure you stick to that. Now, when it comes to finances in third world countries, I do agree. Money is kind of a little bit important when it comes down to, education and making sure that they can live through day to day. I could tell you on a standpoint that I have helped with things here locally in the US when it comes down to charity events and stuff for people who don't have the means when it comes down to funds. Now, third world countries, at one point, I do want to travel to a third world country and help out and give to them that they don't have, and even done like foreign exchange student programs for people who don't have the means to be able to do so. So I can see why you said why money is important and why you're asking the question on how do you survive without it? I mean, a lot of other countries, we as people who live in the US, we neglect a lot of the things that we have that involves money because we never would see ourselves in a standpoint as another country who doesn't have the means. A lot of us don't put ourselves in other people's shoes. So in that particular case, yes. The question is, how would you end up sitting here living without money? A lot of people end up getting PTSD from poverty. A lot of the people in third world countries do. They don't really survive. Well, they don't really live, they survive.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They're surviving. They're living every single day to survive. They're not living to live, they're living to survive, which isn't healthy either.
Yeah. So that's the main thing, like which actually teases me too much. Like whatever money that I used to earn, that used to get spent into just all the like bills, electricity bills, and whatever like the requirements of house are there, and then thereafter there is no saving for that. But later on we try to do one thing, that we give tuitions and all that for free. Sometimes I tried my level best, but it even that was not you know taken into the consideration in a proper way. People started thinking about it in a negative manner, that I am trying to get some publicity, or it's like a publicity stunt. So then I started asking for some sort of fee for the same, like 100 $200 for the same. Then people started saying that it's good one, like then they started coming to me. Otherwise earlier when I started the a sort of campaign for teaching the kids for free, then all of a sudden it was near about 24 students in one go. Then thereafter when they got to know that some teacher is teaching for free, then they said that it's a publicity stunt. They just took their shoes back. Then they thought that why to go. So if somebody is doing for free, maybe there is some sort of personal benefit to the person.
So
So that
you're
happened.
doing a lot of good things to help benefit the children, and then in the same sense, you're getting backlash because you're trying to give back to the children, which
Yeah.
it's not fair to you because you're trying to provide for them like they're your own kids. And I get it, as a teacher, you are going to have attachment to these kids and you're going to try to do your best to give them the best that they can. And honestly, continue doing what is going to be best for you. Like, is it giving you fulfillment? Like trying to help these kids?
Yeah, for sure. I love this thing. It gives
So
me solace, actually.
So because you're doing it and it's giving you fulfillment and you know you're making an impact on them, it should not matter what the other teachers or these other people who have negative input. Typically, when you do something good in your life, you're going to always have somebody negative trying to drag you down and make you second guess what you're doing. And you don't want to sit here and allow them to drag you down, because a lot of people, when they see a good idea or a good notion or somebody doing good deeds, they're going to look at you like, why are you doing this? What are you trying to gain? And you don't have to tell or explain yourself to anyone. The only person you have to explain yourself to is yourself. And if these people are trying to drag you down, it's because they have a lot of hate in their heart and they have nothing better to do. Some people, jealousy is a very, very ugly, ugly emotion. Yeah. And a lot of people, jealousy comes in different shapes or form. They'll sit here and they'll question you. They'll sit here and be like, well, you're doing this because you're trying to do publicity, or you're doing this because you want to gain money and you want to pocket it yourselves. But why are you doing it? The only person you need to answer that question to is you. The only person you need to answer to is yourself. Because you're trying to give back, you're trying to give good deeds to people and go out of your way. The whole reason I started my podcast was for the same notion. I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it because I was starting my own self-discovery journey, and I knew there was other people out there who was questioning, like, why are people, doing XYZ? Why are people making me feel the way that I feel? I'm doing it because I want to help other people. I'm not asking people to help me fund this. I'm not asking people to do anything. I'm doing it because if you have a good idea or if you have something good that you can share with people, why not share it? That's something a lot of humans lack, is we lack the compassion or the will to help others out. And when we do help other people out, we have a lot of people who are negative, who are selfish, be like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this out of the kindness of your heart? Why are you a good person? You must be evil. And that's just evil people talking.
Yeah.
But
So
actually,
go ahead.
yeah, but actually, what happens is, um, suppose I'm in a school. Suppose I have joined a school, then like we cannot say anything against the management. People used to think so, and the teachers actually they don't take a step in that case, because the same thing is getting used, which was actually earlier used by some Britishers in our country. Like they use the policy of divide and rule. So the same thing is getting used by all the managements, whichever management we are going to go into, like whichever school we go into. Um, um, like in some of the schools, I'm not talking about the whole of the country. I'm talking about the schools which are nearly available to me. So the divide and rule policy makes me, alone, like feel alone, and that where to go then. Like if we cannot expect something good in our life, if we are trying to search it out, like how can we search it out properly? Like suppose we don't have the means to go somewhere else, or suppose I don't have the means to go abroad, or suppose I don't have the money to reach to abroad. I know that the people who can understand me are not here. They cannot understand me. Maybe like I'm not getting the right chances. I don't know. Like that's why I started this thing also. Like I thought that why not to join this podcast and just share my views, so that I'll be lifted up, and a little bit I'll feel the sigh of relief. In case I would not have done so, then I would have like felt heavy. I'm sleeping daily at 2 around, and it's quite like what can I say about it? Like it gives me nothing but only that I'm becoming insomniac. So I'm not getting my proper sleep just to just think about it. Like sometimes what to do next, that I can make a change in my life. Like maybe at your place or in your country, maybe that's a morning time, but at my country, in my country, it is near about 1 o'clock. Sorry, 11:38. It's 38 minutes past 11. So totally I'm just blank about it, this idea that where to go and what to do right now actually. So I'm feeling alone, so I thought that why not to join in. So in case if there is somebody who can share it, then let me tell you one thing, that I'm a married person. I have a beautiful wife as well as my beautiful daughter. So just for their sake, I'm trying to find out the means, and like what to do and how to do. The main thing is this.
So
Yeah.
when it comes down to everything you're going through, it is going to be hard. It's going to be a very, very hard journey. I know the means are not there right now, especially because of, the country you're in. Unfortunately, when it comes down to self-discovery, self-health, and, healing, that is a journey most people walk alone. Not many people actually have good support system. Not many people want to have people in their corner, because not everybody goes through the same journey. And it seems as though you are aware of that there's a problem, that there's an issue, that, you want to start down this path and that you are feeling like you're alone in this world going through it. Yes, you have a wife. Yes, you have a child. A lot of people don't realize you could be in a very happy relationship and still feel alone because you're not getting the fulfillment that you want, or you're feeling like something's amiss or something is not there. You already are ahead of the game because you are aware that you need to go ahead and start this journey, but you just don't know where to start. And a lot of people don't know where to start. Honestly, when I started mine, I didn't have a single clue where to even begin. And everybody starts their journey in different ways. Sometimes it takes a traumatic experience. Sometimes it takes, people isolating them. Sometimes it just, you wake up and you're like, okay, something's not right. But you're aware because you are losing sleep over it. You are aware because you are paying attention to everything that's going on. And from what it sounds like you want to make a change and you want to make a difference where you are, but you don't have the means to, and you're trying to discover how can you make a change. And then in the country that you are, there is a lot of restrictions where a lot of people are not going to stand up for their beliefs. A lot of people are not going to stand up to, superiors or their management because of how they feel. And that is something I know here we tend to not do either. We just kind of walk away from the situation. And in your particular case, you may not have the means to be able to walk away,
Yeah, yeah.
especially you don't want to leave them. But you standing
May I
there,
come in? May I come in? Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Like what happens is, in your country, there is one option. Like suppose we don't like one job, we can switch on the job to some other job. But in our country, if we change the job multiple times, it actually brings some sort of blot on your record. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that when it becomes a blot on your record, that if you have changed your institutions many a times, then definitely the person is not a regular person, the person is not punctual person, the people feel like that, the institutions feel like that. So the restrictions actually maybe are only for disciplining the person to make a disciplined sort of life. But I personally feel so there should be like there should be no barricade to change the job. That is like I know the problems actually, ma'am, the problem I know, every problem I know, that how to deal with it. So I felt that I felt the urge of sharing it with somebody, so that because I felt that like there is nobody, like suppose one thing is there, I'm an English teacher in my school. So if I'm sharing my thoughts on English, my teachers used to tell me that how dare you speak in English with us, the person who is speaking in Punjabi, how can you speak with that person in English? The mode of communication is English. I'm trying to implement that sort of rule, and they are telling me that keep speaking in mother tongue, so that we can understand. I said that okay, with you I can, but at my back they used to laugh at me when I used to speak English with my children. So that is also it is actually harassing me. Like if we want, if I'm satisfied with whatever amount of money I'm getting from the school, it's not an issue. The problem is this one, like if somebody is doing some sort of task with a calm heart, then why not let him do that? So like we can't go to the court for the same. So we cannot go to some sort of higher authorities for the same, because they want to run their institutions rather than running the pure sort of state in in the form of institutions. The problem is this. I know this thing that I'm not saying that money is important for me. I'm saying that right at the moments, like it is not that like I cannot create means. I am sort of person that who can create the means of his own. But the problem is this one, right at the moment, like I feel myself into the clutches that I cannot go from this boundary to that boundary. So that boundary, I don't know like how to just get out of it. Like the way, like as you have started podcast, I started podcast on Anchor. Some sort of app was there, Anchor. So I started my podcast there, but I was not aware about it that I cannot get the money from it. So I kept on making the lessons on it for the grammar, for English grammar. But I didn't get anything because that is applicable only in the US, in America, not in India. So the person who is from India cannot get the money. So I thought that it's okay. Like, I'll continue to make the lessons. I don't have any issue with that, because somebody would be held by that. Some people from the Ukraine, and some people from the US, like 2% people from the US, like 20% from some other country, like 65% from my own country are listening to me. I love that thing. So, money is not important for me. That is the thing. That is the thing I cannot share with anybody. That, like, how to say that, on one side it is also important for running the family. On the other side, for me, I'm not keeping a single penny with me. I'm giving every single penny to my mother, my dad, my wife. I'm not keeping anything. Money is not important for me, but the I want to live in a society where the people are agile, where the people are active, who wants to create some difference in the society. That's the main thing. Like, even in India, like, I'm trying my level best to create such a certain sort of society in my area, which is a rural area, which is a total rural area. It's a very much like all the people are, like, we can say that nearby my city would be the villages, and those villages, in those villages, people want to go abroad always, and but they don't know language English. So that's a basic problem of our area. So I'm trying to teach them also. It's not a problem for me. Like, earning money is not a problem. I'm just keeping my point. As you said in your comments or statements, you mentioned that one, that the money, money is not important. Everything else can be done. So I thought that, let me give my point, that it is okay in your country, but it is not okay everywhere.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said in the U.S. it's one thing, but in other countries it's not. Um, but it is a big factor when it comes down to other countries that don't have the means. So when it comes down to it, I could speak on the U.S. because I've
Yeah,
lived
I
there.
know that. That's what I mean, like, whatever your points were, which those were universally applied, or were those only restricted to your country?
Hmm. I
That's
mean,
what
like I
that
always tell
was my
people, I can only speak on things that I've lived. I can't speak on things that I have not lived. And I can't say I know your situation. I can never say that, I've lived that situation or I could speak on that situation because it would be false. It wouldn't be genuine. Only you could
yeah.
speak on the situation and what's going on in your area. It just like I could only speak that goes on in mine. So I get that point. Like I said, for me and stuff, and for my friend, that's how we survive without means. Believe me, I've been in a considered quote unquote poor part of the US before and not have money and didn't have the means of survival, wondering what I was going to eat that day or how I was going to even get food that day, before I got to where I am now. Um,
Mhm.
but that's just temporary. While some people are living this their entire lives. So I
Yeah.
honestly
Comment
can't
on.
understand or can't relate,
Yeah.
especially when it comes down to a country where you don't have that many opportunities. And I mean, only thing is, I know when I was in my bad state and I didn't have money and I didn't have means, I still try to find something that will make me happy,
Mhm.
even in a bad situation. Um,
It's the little things sometimes.
it's about what are you gaining, and it sounds like for you, you're still, even in your situation, you're still finding joy out of helping people learn English. And even if you're being bullied, I work with a few people from India, and they are very very strict. And I can tell you they're very into their own own set ways. And I love one girl. She's like 19. She's very into her culture, and she will
Mm.
tell me all the time, like, I can't do certain things. I will never do certain things. I know I was born and raised in the US, but because of how I was raised, I'm still have that mentality where she will speak English, but then she also will speak her mother language. And she says all the time, like, she favors her mother language over anything. So that's just some of the
Uh,
bit of experience I have had, but I've never actually been to India. It's one of the places I want to go see, because
yeah,
I
it's full of it's full of variety of culture. It's not a problem for you. Like in case you're gonna visit, you would love to visit our country. It's not a problem. The problem is only the job opportunities, employment, corruption. So many things are there. Those are going on continuously, side by side, parallel way. And as you said that we cannot comment on anybody's country. Like I would say that like suppose we know about each other's country, then we can understand the situation. I can understand your situation, as I know many people in US, and I like a sort of thing used to happen like this. The way I know, I don't know the name of that particular area in China. In China, one place was there who was 98% poor, and they changed themselves, and all of them have become wealthy now. So if they can do, if they can bring the change, why can't everybody? So I mean to say that. So when we respect each other, like if we have a cosmopolitan sort of view about each other, then there won't be any sort of boundary. There won't be any sort of like, I would consider your country to be my, and you would consider my country to be yours. There should not be any sort of um, I feel barricade is a problem. Like, okay, we are keeping the boundaries, that's good, that's well and good, but keeping the good quality people and the bad quality people all together at the same time is going to, uh, bring a bad ratio, like in India.
It
Yeah,
is.
sorry.
It is. It's gonna be a ripple effect, like a ripple effect. I'm sorry. Some people are
Hmm.
good, some people are gonna be bad, but it's just a matter of figuring out. Um, as long as humans have the whole hero or I'm better than you complex, you're never going to have a lot of people who see the same eye level. Unfortunately, as much as we would love for things to come together and to be at peace, and for everybody to be on the same page length and think of each other as equals, as long as some people think that they're more superior than others, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is just how we are as humans. We're very competitive. And there's very few of us who don't compete. I'm one of the few people I don't compete. I don't feel like I'm better off than other people. I'm very humble about the things in my life because I know there's a lot of people out in the world that have worse situations than me. A lot of people who's gone through a lot of bad situations. And that is something a lot of people don't do. They don't put themselves in other people's shoes. And it is a very, very, very hard thing to grasp for some people. And it's very hard for people to relate to. But as a human being, I feel as though that as long as we have compassion and we still have people who out in the world who are good, who do see everybody as equal, who are trying to make a change and make a difference, we are going to continue the fight. That fight is going to be an ongoing fight for most of our lives and generations to come.
Yeah.
And it's just if we give up the fight, then we'll never strive for peace. And I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, it's one of those things. It's something that we have to take in consideration and keep it moving and have to keep working on ourselves and keep trying to push out the knowledge dependent no matter who picks on us, who tells us we're wrong, and who tells us you should be giving up, you should just be doing
Sorry.
XYZ. We have to keep putting forth the effort. And I mean, honestly, with my podcast, I'm going to continue putting forth the effort. And I feel the same that you should do the same. You should continue putting forth the effort and trying to make a change and a difference so you can goal. As long as you speak what you're trying to do into existence, at some point we are all going to get to a common ground.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I do appreciate you calling in. I do have to cut my podcast slightly short at this point. I've gone over 24 minutes.
oh,
I do go live every last Sunday of the month. And
okay.
I do appreciate you dropping in. Hopefully you tune in for future podcasts. And hopefully this upcoming month, you hear something that might resonate well with you and help push forward. And maybe you could share it with some other people to help as well. Especially your kids who may be going through some other situational stuff. I really, really hope and pray that, you continue making a difference in India.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you very
very
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been on for an hour and 25 minutes. We went from talking about energy, physical, mental, and emotional, and then we got real deep into, our culture versus third world countries and not being able to make a difference without means and money. I definitely appreciate him coming in and giving a little bit of an insight. And I really hope he continues making a difference. It warms my heart to hear somebody, regardless of not, still pushing through. And I really feel bad that people are bullying him for trying to do the right thing. And I really hope that he can be able to get things done. I might, if I can find his podcast, I'm going to definitely share it because that really did touch me. I love hearing when good people are doing good things, regardless of who's throwing stuff their way. Because I'm a black sheep myself. I have a lot of people who've been bad mouthing me for my podcast. So I'm still pushing through because I'm hoping it resonates well in somebody. And I'm hoping somebody learns something from him as well as learn something from this podcast and me and Kat. So ladies and gents, again, remember, continue protecting your energy. It's okay not being okay. And I hope you guys continue being amazing and being true to yourself and protecting yourself. I do commend and I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in today, and have a wonderful Sunday. And I will be back next Sunday with Self-Care Month, which is going to be the month of February.
Bye.
Bye, guys.